Hey, Noah Waika here. Today I'm going to talk just briefly about the JINSE Amazon Bipod. It's basically just an Atlas clone with a few Chinese features that it's a lot cheaper on Amazon, so I figured I'd give it a shot. I picked it up on Amazon for something around 60 bucks, I want to say, just to kind of evaluate it and see how it does. I've never shot off of an Atlas style bipod. I've typically used a Harris or a Harris clone on various rifles. So I'm kind of excited to see how this performs. I've got it on a Remington 700 and 300 Win Mag, just a super light barrel with a brake on it. So there's nothing really special about this rifle. It's not a PRS gun. It's not like I'm trying to go out there and make mile shots time after time, but just kind of something to plink around with long range and see how it does. So we'll walk you through today a little bit of the features, kind of my thoughts on the different construction of it, and then we'll do some preload tests and see how it holds up on dirt and concrete, kind of the two most common surfaces people will shoot long range off of. All right, let's take it to the garage. Hey, so let's just walk through real quick a little bit of the fit and finish of this JINSE bipod. So like I said earlier, I picked this up on Amazon for about 60 bucks. So it should be decent quality, but it's not anything that's Atlas quality or above. So you'll notice the similarities to the Atlas bipod. It's got these adjustable collars here that are just spring-loaded, and it adjusts to different positions. It looks like in about 3/4 inch increments. Actually, we can grab the calipers here and measure exactly how far the increments are. 19.8 something, 99, yeah. So my guess is because it was made in China, they used a metric standard. It has the normal 45 positions that your Atlas bipod will have. It goes 90 forward, or 45 forward and back, and then 90 forward and back. There's a fair amount of wobble in it. This side that's facing the camera has a lot of play in how it is. The far side has a little bit less play, a little bit more solid. We'll take it outside in a few minutes here, and I'll show you guys a little bit of how the preload works and how much wobble it has when you preload it. But overall, it's passable quality. This is a 6061 that was machined. Looks like CNC machined, judging by how exact everything is on it. The knurling pattern is the same and everything like that. It's got the same button detents that the Atlas bipod does. These feet swap detents. You can take off this pad. I'm not sure if you're supposed to be able to, but it comes off, and then you're left with sort of a harder plastic that's more like a Harris style with the knurling on the bottom of it. The actual construction, like this quick disconnect here, is kind of a pain to get on and off, so I'm not going to take it off the rifle right now, but it does quick disconnect. It does function. You can adjust it. It's spring-loaded with a hex nut on the other side, so it's decent. I wouldn't say that it's the best quality ever, but the craftsmanship is passable. We'll see how it holds up, but so far, and just kind of playing around with it here at the house and trying to do some different out-of-position shooting, seems to hold up pretty well. So we'll take it outside real quick, and I'll show you guys a little bit of the preload. Okay, so we're outside looking at it. I'm set up here as if I'm in my FFP or wherever else you're going to shoot from. We'll go into the preload here. So you can see immediately on concrete, that thing just slides away from me super easily. There's not really a whole lot of preload you can get out of it. The longer positions, if we wanted to go higher, I'll pull the legs all the way down here so you can see there's a little bit more of an ability there because you're relying on the springiness. You can see how much play there is in it. It just kind of wobbles. The pan feature works pretty well. I don't have a lot of complaints there. I did put an O-ring in here underneath the control knob, but you know, that works fairly well. In terms of being able to adjust it easily, it's the same sort of thing with an Atlas. You gotta sort of play around with it, but for the most part it works pretty well. The 45 forward position, there's no preload there whatsoever. Split position a little bit, but not really. I'll go 45 back here. These positions at least lock in kind of definitively. You can really tell where it is. So with this one, because I'm on my mat, I get a little bit more of that preload. I'll move forward onto the concrete and show you. Yeah, it sort of squirts away from me. Even with them all the way down, I think this 45 positions, yeah, there's not really much. So concrete, it behaves about how you would expect a plastic footed bipod to behave. Maybe if I had some Atlas feet that were a little more spiky or rubber, that might work a little bit better, but I'll move over into the grass and show you guys a little bit of how it performs on the dirt. Alright, so a little bit of a tighter angle here in the dirt on the side of my house, but it performs a little bit better in the dirt. You can kind of start to get a little bit of the preload, especially if you dig yourself a little bit of a hole there. I'm facing down a little bit, so I would probably extend it. Pull it out here. So you can start to lean into it a little bit and start to get a little bit of mitigation. It works the best if you've got something in front of you, so even if you can like dig a little groove in the ground or something to put those legs in, you can really start to prevent it from getting away from you. In terms of like usability though, there's a lot of wobble in the mechanism. If you're trying to do super heavily repeatable shots, like from a bench or something in a competition, you might look elsewhere. I would suggest getting like an actual Atlas for fit and finish, but if you're like me and you just kind of like poking at a mile sometimes from less than ideal conditions, this will probably work for you. I still haven't shot it yet. It's how you use the tools, not necessarily the tools that you're given, but I'll talk a little bit more about it when I go back inside. We talked a little bit about this JINSE bipod. So sort of bottom line, it's not top tier craftsmanship. It's somewhat inferior materials. It's not super good tolerances. It probably leaves a little bit to be desired, but for the price, if you're looking to get an Atlas clone and you like the features of the Atlas, this thing will probably work out for you. It's got enough rigidity that you can get into the preload. It's got enough features and enough sort of interchangeability with an actual Atlas that you could probably upgrade it with some Atlas components. One thing I didn't mention previously is this is a cast, like a pot metal sort of a component here, whereas on the Atlas it's actually machined stainless steel. So if you're able to swap that out for an actual Atlas plate, that would probably fix a lot of the issues that you're having with this thing. It looks like this push button too, potentially you could swap out legs or whatever else, but at that point you might as well just buy an actual Atlas. So bottom line, I recommend it. I would say if you're not a super serious shooter, or you're a shooter on an extreme budget, it'll probably work out for you okay. If you guys want to see anything else about it, if you have any questions or anything like that, let me know in the comments, or reach out to me. Stay safe.